parents, thankfully, have always been supportive, but there have been people in the extended family that haven't been as supportive. And I remember so clearly when they took the decision to send me abroad to study, the first question that was asked was, why are you spending so much money on your daughter? No, ladki to hai, aake shaadi kar legi. I was like, we are educated, like, you know, why would you in this day and age say something like that? Obviously, I think a really beautiful feeling to be able to, we've almost made all of Alia's birthday cakes for the last 10 years or 12 years, and I'm really happy that we continue to do so. We made Raha's first birthday cake.
And I think Alia has been there for you throughout.
She's super, and I've always been a fangirl. Always said that I absolutely love her and adore her. I didn't know whether the challenges I was facing was because of my age or because of my gender, and it was also inexperience, right? So now a young girl, if she's going to rent a place or get equipment, I guess, you know, people would ask me, who's funding it, where's your father, where's your husband? It used to frustrate me and used to anger me. And growing up as a bigger girl is always challenging, and so I went through my own share of like feeling not good enough, not worthy enough, and then it's taken many years of, you know, working on it, understanding it, realizing, and you reach a point where you're like, if I don't love myself, nobody else, you know, how can I expect anybody else to? And I think it's that journey of self-love where it's just more than, it's an acceptance. I remember we made Salman Khan's birthday cake many years ago. I think it was almost 10-12 years ago. And, you know, I made the cake and I was looking at it, and then the next day he tweets it and says, "Ye lo birthday cake ka photo," and he posts a picture of the cake. And I was like on Twitter seeing that, oh my God, is this the cake that I made?
Hello everybody, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Wonder Women, the show that we celebrate women who have created a space for themselves. We celebrate who they are and their wonderful journey. Today, it's a sweet surprise for all of you. She is indeed the queen of macarons. We all actually call her the Macaron Queen, but there is so much more to Pooja Dhingra, and we are going to find out about that today. Thank you for joining in, Pooja.
Thank you for having me.
It is indeed a sweet surprise, and I know you're used to these introductions where they keep calling you sweet, but you are also a sweet person.
Thank you.
This title, the unbeatable title that you have been holding on to for many years now. Congratulations, 15 years of.
Thank you so much.
15, but
yes,
oh my God,
15 years.
It's
I
crazy.
feel old.
You feel
now
old.
I feel old, yeah.
तो मुझे लगता है ये जर्नी बताना बहुत ज़रूरी है because it's very inspiring at a time when people didn't think to revolutionize macarons and cupcakes the way you did. You made it happen. If I'm not wrong, you were almost like about 5 to 6 years old when you first baked. Am I correct?
Yeah, I was 6 years old.
Okay.
I made a batch of brownies with my bua. So, you know, as a kid, I used to get bored very easily, you know. So one day she was like, bus, she put me on the kitchen counter and she said, we'll bake brownies today. And that was it. It was like, for me, like really magical to see such simple ingredients come together.
Sure.
And the joy, you know, who doesn't love like baked goods coming out of an oven? And it started from there. My mom ran a small home business of like chocolates and mousse. So every, you know, weekend we would spend like helping her making her mousse or making cheesecakes. And that was it. But I didn't even think it could be a career, you know. It was so, things were so different back then.
And then how did you make it happen? Let's talk about the
ups
and downs. The challenges are always interesting to know, na?
Challenges, I think we should have a whole episode only for challenges. I can sit here and just...
Especially at the time when you build an empire. I'd like to call it that.
Yeah, it's a very tiny empire. But, I mean, I honestly think it was like being at the right place at the right time. So I think I was 16 or 17, and at that time you're, deciding what you want to do. And I don't think being a professional chef, especially for women back then, was a career option. Like I didn't know any female chefs. And then ऐसे मालूम नहीं था कि ये भी job हो सकता है, So then I went to law school. For 2 weeks. I feel embarrassed to even say that, but
Why? It's okay.
I went to law school for 2 weeks. Luckily, I knew very early on that that's not what I wanted to do, and I went to my parents, and thankfully I have like super supportive parents, and they just asked me if I was. They said that what would you like to do, and I think back then there was always this this image of owning a cafe. I love people. I love hosting people. Yeah. Thankfully, I have super supportive parents, and the one thing that they told me was that education is important. So whatever you want to do, just make sure you study it.
Yeah.
So I studied hospitality for 4 years. That's when you go to different kind of departments, and that's where the pastry kitchen came in. So I walked in, and that was it. Back then I didn't realize what challenges would be thrown at me if I went down that path, but I think it's been good. It's definitely been fun. I feel like I keep telling people that the last 15 years have been like a very expensive school that I've gone to of learning, where every day I learn something new, and I don't think anybody can teach you those things until you actually don't go through it and grind yourself. So yeah,
I think having supportive parents is always a boon, right? और especially जब आप कुछ अलग करना चाहते हो उस टाइम के लिए अभी I know there are a lot of opportunities, पर मुझे ये जानना है कि how did people around you react? क्योंकि you also had the dreams of making into a cafe and then eventually expand. मुझे लगता है when women in business have a lot more naysayers. There's unfortunate belief that women are not made for business. Or how did you kind of, deal with all of the voices and the noises that came in, and then and actually kind of worked on what you were doing?
I think for me, I was very lucky that my immediate surroundings, like my family, friends, have always been extremely supportive. Sometimes more than they believed in me, more than I believed in myself. So I would think small, and my dad would come to me and be like, "Bus, like think bigger." He's the one who pushed me out of the home kitchen to get my own space, and they really saw an opportunity there. So for me, that was very good. I think. And back then, when I started, I was 23, so I didn't know whether the challenges I was facing was because of my age or because of my gender, and it was also inexperience, right? So now a young girl, if she's going to rent a place or get equipment, I guess, people would ask me, who's funding it, where's your father, where's your husband? And at that point, I think I was wise beyond my years, because at that point I was like, "ठीक है, they want to know. I just want to get my work done." So I would just call my dad and say, they want to meet you, just meet them, and then I just care about getting my work done, and my work will be done. It used to frustrate me and used to anger me. And then obviously I just made peace with it. And then I also feel that for me, being a young girl doing something that not too many people were doing also got me a lot of attention, got me a lot of, organic sort of reach. A lot of people were interested in it. So I think it had both, the good and the bad. And I just always chose to focus on all the good that was coming in, and then just, the bad anyway happens.
Do you remember the most viral, I mean, of course, macarons, I know that. But do you remember what they were, the first few, as we like to call in today's lingo, viral products of yours, which eventually gives you hope that you can keep trying more different things?
I mean, honestly, I was just so with my head down, just working, that I didn't even realize what was happening outside. Like when we started, we had a lot of like celebrity clients who started buying things from us, and that time social media was just about starting. So I remember we made Salman Khan's birthday cake many years ago. I think it was almost 10, 12 years ago. And I made the cake and I was looking at it, and then the next day he he tweets it and says, "Ye lo birthday cake ka photo," and he posts a picture of the cake. And I was like on Twitter seeing that, oh my God, is this the cake that I made? And then and I was like, no one will ever know this was ours. So then we started. So on our cake, so it led to many things. So on our cake board now, if you ever see it, we have like our website on it, and on our cakes we have a personalized stamp. So like this, there have been so many moments, that have happened. And obviously when you're young and you have like this, you're like enamored and you're like, oh, I have so many people that I'm able to bake for and cook for. I had a little list of people that I would like to bake for. And you slowly start achieving that.
I have to know about the list. Let's hear it. Come on, now you can.
No, I think the most special one for me was when we made Ratan Tata's retirement cake. I think that was very special. And then, it's been, I had the privilege of meeting Tim Cook. He came to our kitchen. He had one of the macaroons, and then he tweeted that was the best macaroon he ever had, which also was very, like, I couldn't believe it that this was happening. Like, if you ever told me to dream big, I probably wouldn't have like dreamt that big to be like, this is possible. So I think you just have to keep doing what you do and be open to good things happening.
How is it when you enter, you're delivering the cake for Salman Khan, and then you get that order? Because, this is a step towards, dreaming big.
Like I said, I was 23, 24 years old, and the thing is, when so many things are happening all together, it's very difficult to like take moments out and I was always just grateful. I think that my main thing was just like, I'm happy I get to do what I do, and sometimes I was like, oh, I've had many pinch me moments in my career where I was like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. And it felt really special because you are like, you interacting and meeting with people that you've seen, on a screen growing up. But I think what was even more, like for me, what is more impactful is I went to a school, back to my own school a couple of years ago, and it was a room of maybe 200 people. And I just asked them a simple question like, how many of you have eaten a macaroon? And all 200, 250 of them raised their hand up. And I was like, when I started, it was so difficult to like educate people and tell them what it was. And the fact that now everyone here knows it, and people were like, oh, we love this flavor of yours and we love that one. I think to me that's being able to do that and achieve that has been like,
It was so fascinating to see how massively you've grown to what you have, right? You're talking about celebrity moments. I remember that you all had done this. You have a lot of friends from the industry as well, but you've done this little fan thing for Alia. Cut to you baking the cake for Alia and Ranbir's wedding. I thought it was just like life comes to a full circle.
Yeah.
I saw the two of you very young, and then I saw the pride with which you said, this is just beautiful. And of course that relationship continues because you're still making healthy halwa cakes on her birthday. But tell me that moment, and how you've seen her grow as well along with you, and I think it's a matter of pride.
No, I mean, it's obviously, I think, a really beautiful feeling to be able to, we've almost made all of Alia's birthday cakes for the last 10 years or 12 years. And I'm really happy that we continue to do so. We made Raha's first birthday cake and her second birthday cake, and we make all of Ranbir's cakes. So I think it's nice that for us to have customers that have been loyal with us for so long. And to me, it's just that, right? It's like the ability to have that thing that when people think of cakes and the special moments, they think of us.
And I think Alia has been there for you throughout.
She's always, she's super, and I've always been a fangirl, and ever since the first, I think her first film, the first few films that came out, I've always said that I absolutely love her and adore her, and it's nice to be part of her life in whatever way.
Of course. आपका यहाँ पे एक छोटा सा girl gang hai, in Mumbai, and I have always seen that you all celebrate each other in successes. Of course you have Masaba, you have Sonam, Rhea, Samyukta, and I know there are a lot of. So I would like to talk about the female friendships that you have with these wonderful women, and how over the years I see you supporting each other and celebrating your successes.
I mean, I think, wouldn't you support all your friends? Like, 100%. I think for me, it's been great. I have friends that I've known since I was 3 years old.
Yes.
And they're still, some of my best friends. I have friends that I went to college in India with. I have friends that I went to college in Switzerland with, in college in Paris, and then friends I met through my career. And I think the real test of being, you just have to be a good friend. And I think friendships take work, and it requires work and just to have someone who understands you, who knows what it's like, what you're going through, the pressures of having a really like stressful job. So I think that, you know, a safe space where you can go and just be like, okay, this is what I'm going through and this is how I feel today, and just to have that support. So I'm very lucky in that manner that I have all these little groups of girlfriends that I can rely on. Yeah.
Women, unfortunately, are around you made to feel even more insecure, and you know, you're so aware of your insecurities from a really young age because of the society around you, right? And I think over the years we gain that confidence. Today I see a very confident Pooja Dhingra, you know, who is the CEO, founder, and has done and created a business empire. But I know you've been through your own vulnerabilities, and I think listening to that story would probably help a lot of women who believe that you know, they're the only ones who are going through it, but I think all of us are. Would you like to share that story of dealing with insecurities?
I believe that one should be honest and true, and I'm always quite vulnerable about my life, my journey, my story. And for me, when I you know, I come from a very Punjabi family, and my parents thankfully have always been supportive, but there have been people in the extended family that haven't been as supportive. And I remember so clearly when they took the decision to send me abroad to study, the first question that was asked was, why are you spending so much money on your daughter? No, ladki to hai, aake shaadi kar legi. And you know, for me, I was like, we are educated, like, you know, why would you in this day and age say something like that? And I'm so grateful to my parents who said that no, our children, both the son and daughter, will have equal opportunities. And for me, there was always this little like fight, you know, like, you think I can't do it, you think I'm not good enough, I'll show you. And then I think you go through life and you realize there's no point, that was inconsequential, and there's no point in doing anything for anybody else. And that's another journey altogether by itself, by realizing that you are just, you know, you have your own life to live, and it makes no difference to anybody else's life what you do. So I think for me it was a good like trigger in the right way that helped me going, and then I kind of realized that I just have to let go of that. And
I think as young women, we sometimes are going through so much, you know, because sometimes the world around us is very harsh, their opinions, the way we look, there's a certain type that is celebrated. This is the standard of beauty, itna dikhna hai, this is the body that we celebrated, and we are very trapped in all of that. Coming out of that is again another journey, and I think we should celebrate ourselves, which is not done very often. How did you go through, like all of us, your own individual journey of, you know, coming to peace with who you truly are, and not giving in to any standard of मुझे ऐसा दिखना है, ऐसा करना है, इसी पाथ में चलना है?
I think that I think as for anyone, you know, like growing up as a bigger girl is always challenging, and so I went through my own share of like feeling not good enough, not worthy enough, and then it's taken many years of, you know, working on it, understanding it, realizing, and you reach a point where you're like, if I don't love myself, nobody else, you know, how can I expect anybody else to? And I think it's a journey of self-love where it's just more than, it's an acceptance. So for me, that's been quite recent actually. It's not something that has happened, and I think it's a continuous journey. I don't think that it's something that you have to be aware of. It's not like one time you're like, oh, I love myself, and then it's done. I think your relationship with yourself is like a relationship with anybody else, right? It requires constant work. So I think for me that's been a big one. I challenge myself to do different things that makes me feel confident. Like I've run a half marathon, I've climbed Mount Fuji, I'm doing a race next month, I'm going to go surf at the end of the year. So I do like things like that for myself, which make me feel like good in my body and make me feel comfortable and confident. And then I feel like once if I do them, it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
So wonderfully put, and we are cheering for you.
Thank
always.
you. Thank you.
But coming back to building an empire and business, right? I've spoken to a lot of business women. A lot of businesswomen often say that there is a casual sexism that you have to, it's an everyday sexism that you face. वो बहुत हल्का सा होता है, ऐसे कोई मुंह पे आके नहीं बोलता, but it really is bothersome because all you want to be known as probably a chef and not female chef, or you know what comes with your gender. But unfortunately, it is the truth in business. They say that, you know, men don't take you seriously enough. It's they don't like the idea that you have to be listening and taking calls from a woman, and there are many others. What have been your observations, and how have you dealt with it eventually? Because I know that you must have gone through them.
Yeah, I did. And like I told you earlier, like when I was younger, maybe these things bothered me a lot more. I kind of learned how to maneuver and deal with it. Running a business is hard. And anyone who tells you otherwise is probably lying. But it's tough, and every day you're thrown with so many challenges, things that you can't even, like every morning you wake up and you're like, okay, what is going to be today's challenge? So I feel like it's challenging anyway. And then if you're, you know, a woman, it is, you know, slightly more challenging. It's how you deal with it. For me, I've had like, when I was younger, I would like be very, you know, wired, and I would be like, this is not right, and this, and then I kind of just made my peace with what was in front of me and decided that, okay, what is it that I can do that's different? Can I control my own environment? Can I make sure that in my kitchen things are different? Can I have, you know, like, can I have my workforce that is equal? Like, there's both men and women. Do we have enough opportunity? So instead of like blaming what is around me, how can I change the narrative and make sure that I become, you know, change begins with you. So what can you do that's in your control?
Create a safer space.
Yeah, create a safer space, and just like then if there is something happening, then speak up, you know, like talk. So I've had instances in the past where I felt something was not right and it was, you know, gender biased, and I've said like, hey, you know, I don't think this is right, and just having the confidence to say that, and you know, like, and the person didn't even realize that this was happening, and when I said it, they were like, oh, and it changed. So there have been so many. I remember I was in a professional meeting with somebody for an event, and it was you know, a comment was passed about something, and I just, for me, for the first time, I was like, this is not okay. And then I replied saying, I don't appreciate being spoken to like that. And the response I got to was, oh, it was just a joke, and you know, like it was just a joke, and I'll make a note that you're not a joking kind of person, and we joke with all our like international. So I was like made to feel, I was, you know, being gaslit and made to feel like I was the problem, and I just decided from that day to never work with that person ever again. So
Standing up when those little moments are so important.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you did. Of course, I think highs are being remembered by everybody, but they always say lows are what teach you.
Yeah.
I know during COVID, you had to shut down some of the most, I mean, I know the Colaba store was, I saw your heart-full emotional message that you put out, and I think a lot of people in the comments showed you that, saying that, you know what, you're going to strike back. But I know you had other ways, and then you found out way to expand your business further through other things. Let's talk about that moment, because I think it's a very crucial point in the whole
I think
journey.
There was that part in the pandemic where it was, you didn't know what was happening. Everything was so dark and grey, and you didn't feel, and you know, we were still like privileged and lucky to at least have everything else around us that was functional. So it was a tough decision to take, but it was one which was led by, you know, what do we have control of, and what do we see in the next, you know, a couple of months that's gonna happen. So the decision was made then, and it was obviously heartbreaking, but it was the right thing to do at the time, and hopefully one day soon we come up with another cafe, and that'll be even better and, you know, more beautiful and be part of everybody's memories. But at that point I learned a very important lesson, was to find the opportunity in a crisis. I feel like as a leader, or as someone who's running a business, life will throw many challenges at you, and first when they hit me, I kind of like cry and then I kind of try to figure what is wrong, and then it's like, okay, what's the best thing I can do from here? And that's exactly what I've been doing since. I'm like, what's the next best thing? You know, what's the next best thing? And just follow that lead, and eventually you'll, you know, figure out what is next for you.
Let me ask the Forbes 30 and the 30 entrepreneur, what are the 3 rules of business that she has always followed till date and works?
You know, I feel like for me, my journey itself, I feel like I'm a forever student and I'm learning every single day. And I don't like to keep anything that this is a fixed way of thing. I like to challenge my own thinking and my own beliefs because that's the only way I feel like I learn and grow. So I'm learning something new every single day. One thing that, you know, like in the company that we always say is that we'll always do the right thing, and that doesn't change. But besides that, if someone, you know, comes up with a better way of doing something or a newer way of doing something, or if I feel like I'm trying something that's not fulfilling the potential of something, then I'm always ready to ask for help. And I'm like, okay, how can somebody else do this better?
You know, some time ago you mentioned about the fact that how when you started, you were among the few female chefs, right? But that statistic hasn't changed much as such. We know that world around there are more male chefs, but it is the fact that today we see a few more, but the statistic is really, really still there. How have you looked at this? I'm sure it's a conversation that a lot of you all have. I heard a lot of, chefs bring it up as well. And I'm not saying that you cannot have it, but we know that we have a lot of talented young women who also can be there.
We do, and that thankfully since I started, that has been changing. There's so many more women in the kitchen. I do feel like this industry is also, one that is super demanding and challenging. And so the conversation is always that how can we make kitchens more accessible? How can we make it better for women, more women to join the workforce? Some of my female counterparts, like in the industry, that work in hot kitchens, they always say that, you know, why are we always seeing women in pastry and not in the hot kitchen? So that conversation is on always. What is the answer and what is the solution? I don't know. But hopefully, but hopefully it's important to have these conversations. It's important to say what can we as an industry do to make the changes that we need to. And we're seeing so many amazing female chefs now, and people get very upset also when people say female chefs. But I think it's important to differentiate and say that, you know, in a very large industry, the percentage of us women in it is small, and then we have to like emphasize that and make sure that we make that change. And the dream and the hope is one day that we are just known as chefs and not by the gender.
Yeah, but till then, we, like you said, we have to highlight it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have been a part of amazing reality shows, and you're a part of course, Masterchef, and then you recently as well as a guest in Celebrity Masterchef. And I think there is so much drama with food and with everybody else that it becomes super spicy and not just sweet, right? I wanted to tell me.
Are you trying to get me into trouble? Is that what you're trying to do?
Please help me. Please get yourself into little trouble. No. It's whatever you can tell me. But tell me, how have you figured out this world of reality TV and food? Because you have been a part of it. And who, according to you, are the top chefs now that you worked with and you've seen some of them?
I think I did season 8 of Masterchef India. I think it was one of the best experiences of my life. I was so scared. I was so nervous. I'm obviously a pastry chef, and you know, while I do cook, I know that my expertise was going to be more on the sweet side. But the first day when I went, in the MasterChef kitchen and I stood next to chefs Vikas and Ranveer, they just made me feel, completely at home. We became like this group of friends, and every day at work was just so much fun. It was like such a great break from my actual day job. I loved it. And also, if you see the home chefs that were part of our season, they're all so tight and close till today.
Yeah.
I'm in touch with them, and somebody got married in Calcutta, and the whole crew, 8 of them, 10 of them have gone for the wedding. So I think for me it was just, I really, I'm grateful that I got to be a part of it. I mean, it depends. I'm obviously a big fan of Chef Garima, who's works in Bangkok at Ka. Obviously, I love chefs Vikas and Ranveer. There's so many of my contemporaries in Mumbai in different restaurants that I really look up to, whether Chef Hussain, Chef Varun from Mask. There's just so many chefs. The first macaron I ever had was from a chef called Pierre Hermé in Paris, and he's like my stash, my chef. And I was very lucky that I got to meet him 5 years ago in Paris. And the thing is, I struggled so much to make eggless macaroons myself, and then I succeeded. And then when I met him in Paris, the first thing he asked me was like, I'm making vegan macaroons, do you have any tips? And I was like, that's the guy, like, because of who I started my career, is asking me for advice. Like, life felt like it came like a big, like a full circle moment with him.
And you made a recipe book of eggless, like...
I did, yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Isn't that just incredible?
It's so funny because when I came back and everyone, I was like this 22, 23-year-old who'd just come back from Paris, and I had maybe a chip on my shoulder, and everyone would be like, can you make this eggless? Can you make this eggless? And I was like, it's a French recipe. You can't make it eggless. And, my mother would just be like, just do it. So many people are asking. And I said, no. And then 2-3 years later, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make it a challenge. I'm going to make eggless recipes that taste so good that you won't be able, you'll taste it and be like, I can't believe it's eggless. So that's the name of the book, actually.
Yeah,
it's called Can't Believe It's Eggless.
Love it. I mean, I know it's got a very cute packaging and everything.
Yeah.
Among the many books that you've written, not just one, there are a lot of single women who get to tell every day about how they have to lead their lives and are you good enough if you're not married, right? It was wonderful when you put out the post about freezing your eggs and how you want to have that choice and you take it. I feel like these are also conversations that we often shy away from talking. Because we think it's such a shameful thing to even be single or not to be a part of it and all of that, because the world around you is constantly reminding you. Let's talk about that. I think it'll be wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's, so I'm about 38 now, and I think when I was 35, I was, and like I said, I've never had any pressure. I've been one of the lucky ones to never have any pressure from my parents, and I keep telling them, you were supposed to find me somebody. Why haven't you? And they're like, you find somebody yourself,
Love, same.
So at that point, I was like, okay, what is the big game plan? Like, do I want a family? Do I not? And I didn't know. I still don't know. And I, at that point, was speaking to my doctor, and he said, there's one thing that you can do, and you can freeze your eggs and, have that as a backup option. So tomorrow you don't have that pressure of like, I need to get married right now, or you marry the wrong person. Because of like this, we have a biological clock that's ticking. And so I did it. I was very glad that I did it. And I still don't know if I want to have a family or not. And but it's there. It's, on ice somewhere.
It's the people around who constantly are reminding you, saying that, oh, you still don't want to, whether it's relatives, the people who are, actually in India, even random people are comfortable.
I think people have stopped asking me only. Like, I feel they've not like, because I give it back and I don't take it, like, so no one says anything anymore.
How has it been in now realizing? I think when you're single, you exactly know what you want in a life partner. And because you're also observing your friends in their relationships and stuff. I wanted you to tell me what have, if you want to, and being single is absolutely okay, what were the certain qualities that you'll always look for in the life partner if you want to choose to? And then eventually, because those are the important things in life that matter.
Yeah. I think what's been super important for me in all my relationships or just thinking about like a partnership is to really have a deep friendship with the person you're with. I think that is extremely important, and not too many people kind of talk about that. So I think that is important, and it's just for, like a companionship. So I think that is truly important. Someone you can really be yourself with, who you don't have to kind of
how be fake with.
Or just I think that's it's nice to find a companion who you can completely be. This is me. This is
There is something intimidating.
I am not single though.
No, I know, but at a time you've celebrated it.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that you'll always hear men telling you that it's intimidating. If it's a woman who's secure in her own space, doing her own thing. Have you heard that? A, and how have you dealt with it? And why do you think it's important to look beyond that?
I mean, I do think that success is intimidating, irrespective of gender. I do think that it is intimidating. I do think that men find successful women intimidating as well. Yes, I have heard that in the past. And I think it's important to be like, okay, like this is who I really am, and I'm like, do you really think that this is intimidating? Like I don't think there's any reason to be. And I think once a person really knows you and gets beyond that persona of what people think you actually are, I don't think we all eventually people at the end of the day are.
Yeah.
Like you're not like sitting in your room, in your bed, in your home with like holding all these things. No, you're yourself. And I think if someone really sees you for that, then it's not intimidating at all.
What have been the highest moments you think for your business and for you?
I think for me in terms of work, just the fact that I meet so many young girls or girls that have chosen this profession because they're like, oh, we saw that you did it, and then that's why we've done it. And to me, that to be like, okay, without realizing, without me just doing what I love doing and me following my own path made so many other women follow that same path. I think for me that is like, wow, this is not something that I ever aspired to do. I just wanted to do my own thing. So that really gives me joy, and it makes me feel like I'm contributing to something that's beyond and greater than what I'll ever be. And from a work from a Low 15 perspective, it's being a part of people's special moments. You know, when someone who comes and tells us that, oh, we had our first date, we ordered this, and every year on this date we order, you know, you're a part of their like happy moments. Whether it's I had this friend who was pregnant, and we were making her like, we made her wedding cake, and then she was pregnant, and then we would make cupcakes specifically for her. When she was pregnant, she would have cravings, and now the child is about 6-7 years old, and we made their birthday cakes for every single year. So I think those are things for me that are like really highs. Like those are things that really matter to me. And lows, so we can talk about for
Lows to forever.
for 24 hours.
But because we spoke about the lows, I want to tell me 3 things that you've learned from the highs and the lows, right? Anybody who wants to get in the business today, into the business, the kind of that you've created for yourself, what are your learnings so that maybe ones who are hearing can probably learn from it?
I think when you talk about like what are your learnings from both lows and highs, one is that everything passes. Everything is kind of transient. So whether you're having a really good day or you're having a really bad day, it's going to pass. So try to be in the present.
Neutral?
And
Neutral.
yeah, because both, you know, both will pass. So that's good news and it's bad news, but it's better when if you're going through a really hard time, know that it'll get over very soon. And I think that I think persistence is something that has really made me feel like, okay, if you just want to see the results that you want to see, persistence, but also like using, like, don't be, like for myself, in my example, I'll set different goals that I want to do, and I'll find the best way to reach those goals, and I'll be persistent about it. But at some point, if I feel like what I'm really trying to do is not working, then it's absolutely okay to say like, this is not working, I'm going to pivot and I'm going to reach my goal in a completely different way. So the goal remains constant, but the way to reach it can always keep changing. So I feel like that was an important one for me to learn. Yeah.
Okay, when you started, the social media was not this crazy, right? To the point today where there is so much dependent on that. But along with, I think, the love comes a lot of brickbats. You know, like I said, you will see a lot more to give into celebrities, right? And the more judgment, the more trolling. But it maybe at some point it is almost dehumanizing the person and just writing whatever you feel like. How have you dealt with that? And you know, also when you see your friends going through it, also it's hurtful. How have you observed that? What have been your learnings from it, and how do you look at it?
I think when I said that you can't, like the good and the bad, you don't take either of them seriously. I think it's very important for the same, like I know it's easier said than done, because a hurtful comment is always hurtful, and someone saying something bad about you is always going to hurt. But I think that's where it really matters. I think for me, 5-6 years ago, one of the most important things, I used to have a leadership coach, and one of the important things that she made me do was make a list of 10 people in my life who were really important and what value they added and where they stood in my life, and that was my inner circle. And to me, like the only thing that matters is what this inner circle kind of thinks. If I'm doing something that they are unhappy with or they have an opinion, I will listen to it and I will take that into consideration. But anyone who's not part of it, who has a view and opinion, you have to take it with many pinches of salt.
I think that's a fantastic tip actually.
Yeah.
We should all make our own lists and then
Yeah, like-
and cut it out, cut it
Yeah.
off, like associating with it. That's here. Okay. I'm going to show you some pictures with your friends, with the little moments in your life, and you have to describe that picture to me.
How
and
much have
felt.
you stalked me?
Let's see. Are you ready?
No, I'm scared. Oh yeah, that is. It was for Rhea's birthday, and Rhea launched a line with a brand called Necessera, which is like comfort wear.
Sure.
It's what we normally just lounge in and we wear, and it's super comfy. And I shot with her, so that's a picture from there.
And you had these, the caption is so cute because it says, lucky to have these girls in my life who fill it with so much love, laughter, food, and give me the best ideas, and most importantly, and sister friends. It's wonderful to have a sisterhood like this, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. It really
Particularly,
is.
what do you have to say about Rhea being there for you?
I mean, like I said, that caption says it all. It's, whenever she has a food idea, a food craving, we go through it together. And some of my best menu items have come thanks to her.
Really?
Yeah.
She's a fantastic host.
She's a fantastic host, a fantastic cook. And I keep telling her that she needs to do a cookbook herself. So
great.
maybe we'll push her to do it.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
know you also, I think when you do your cookbooks, you also ask Sonam and Rhea to go through and, give ideas.
For things, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I've seen her grazing tables and I'm a fan. That's just
Yeah.
incredible. Okay, like I was saying, let's talk about your...
Oh, this was the episode of Celebrity Masterchef. Yes.
Yes, tell me how much fun it was. And
I took
who's your
them.
favorite?
I took them a real challenge. I made this massive crocum
Yeah.
bush, and they had to make it. So it was really challenging, but they did a good job. I don't know if you saw the episode, but Rajiv made this beautiful crocum bush, and I was like, "You've made this before. You're lying to me. This is not true."
Yeah, like
Yeah.
ऐसे नाटक के
Yeah,
अच्छे नहीं
but-
and all. But so you say who's your favorite contestant?
I mean, for my episode
Yeah.
that I went, I think
Rajiv.
Rajiv did the best job. Yeah.
Fair assessment. It was super cute because you gave the best strawberry cake recipe during, and of course with absolutely favorites Farah and Dilip.
Yeah, I love them.
They're just
Yeah,
hilarious, aren't they?
I love both of them. My dad is a big fan. My dad cooks, in COVID, he got onto YouTube channels, and I would walk into his room and hear Kabita and Chef
Love
Ranveer,
it.
and now, of course, Farah's channel. And we are all big fans. And so when Farah was like, "Oh, I should come to your house and meet your parents," and they were so happy. I think it was the happiest day of their lives.
But I love it.
Yeah.
You had fun as well. Oh my! But that recipe, you simplified it so much. I
Yeah.
think you must. Yeah, thank
It
you.
was, I was just easy. Just put everything in a blender, make it, and it's good to go.
But I think that was a very useful recipes. Check out her cookbook for more. I'm doing subtle plug for you out here.
Love15.com.
Of course. And then, very, very beautiful. Ready to make the best cakes for this maasi duties. Oh.
Yeah. That was, I think Masaba was due a couple of months after that. And yeah, her daughter is absolutely beautiful.
I think you again been there for her, wedding day, making the cake to this. It's so wonderful that you can use your skill and talent to be such an integral part of your friend's journey.
It is the best thing ever, because it doesn't matter what I know what I have to get, because I'm like, anybody's wedding, anybody's birthday, I'm like, I don't have to think. I'm like, cake I will do. So I am
what?
sorted for life.
It is true, right? Do you now know exactly all your friends' favorites?
I know, see, a very good skill that I have is that if you've ever placed an order, and if I have ever taken your order, no matter if you've placed it 15 years ago, I'll remember everything. I'll remember if you have an allergy, I remember what you like, I remember. Till today, I'll meet people whose orders I took when I started in 15, and I'm like, you have a coconut allergy, and they're like, how do you remember? I said, I remember, so I remember everything.
So you remember what is her favorite cake?
Obviously.
Tell me, let's hear it. What is it?
But it depends on the day.
Okay.
So the strawberry cream is her favorite, and then cheesecake, obviously. But Masaba likes anything with biscuit in it. So she likes a little crunch. She'll want to add biscuit to anything. So I made, in fact, for her baby shower, I made a Parle-G biscuit pudding.
Yeah.
that went completely viral, and then we got it on our menu, and it was crazy. I was like, we spend so much money and time working on special menus, and then we make something so simple because she was craving it, and it was,
But I think the simple things are magical sometimes.
They are, they really are.
Also, like, if you've ever, and I'm sure you have tried her pastries, cakes, and anything, you'll know that ingredients are amazing. And I think that ultimately kind of, we know that you source from the best of places. All that is important, right, in making the...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Very cute. I was just saying that there is a cookbook that she had launched. This is also called the Cookies, which I remember Sonam has launched. I love this picture of the two of you.
Yeah, it's called the Little Book of Cookies.
Yeah, it was a special day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was.
Tell us a little on this and this amazing laughter that you have, because it's always fun.
This book, it was actually, like I started baking when I was, very young, and the idea was how can we get more kids to start baking, and so to do a very simple book, and it's cookies, it's 24 recipes of cookies that are eggless recipes, all tested by children, flavors were chosen by kids around me, friends, kids, other kids, and they put it together, and it's a great gift, and it's an amazing book. I'm very proud of that one.
It's absolutely cute. And because we saw Sonam, we had to put out the Kalire video of yours, where you've written still waiting for the Kalire to drop.
Still waiting, yeah. I think it's been 7 years or 8 years since that day.
But I still think it was one of the best weddings, because at the time there were no restrictions, people were putting out the videos, but the fact that all of you, of course including Sonam, and I know her a little, and the most real people ever, to just hang out and have fun.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You don't see that too often, isn't it? Wouldn't you say that about that beautiful
Yeah, it was
day?
Absolutely beautiful, yeah.
And you had also made the cake, if I'm not wrong.
I had, yes.
A very important day is when you said that, Diwali puja at your dad's office used to be very important, and finally you get to do that, and you're leading for your offices with you.
Yeah.
It's such a cute, life comes in a full circle for you. Tell us, is that how you felt about it when you do all these pujas, and because you see your parents do it, your dads do it, and then...
I think sometimes there's just some moments that just feel special, like something happens and you have a recollection and you have a memory from your childhood, and you're like, oh, this used to be really special, and it's funny, life is, like full circle, I get to do this, I'm so excited, I'm so happy. And I have no filter, so I share what I think, and it's there.
No, but it's okay. I think it's a wonderful post in general. I was telling you that this goes to your post of the two of you baking.
Was a long time ago, yeah.
That's why I put this out. Cut to, of course, this moment, that cake.
Yes.
That was talked about so much along with their beautiful wedding. Tell us a little on the cake. I want to know, because it looked fascinating, but you've written out here a very beautiful post that you put out saying that from making birthday cakes and cakes for special occasions to, also making cake for the most special occasion. We want to know about that cake.
It was a very simple brief. We got a brief and we followed it pretty much to the T, yeah.
And there it was.
Yeah.
But you did get a lot of orders for this cake, didn't you?
Yes, we do. We still do.
You still do, right?
Yeah.
Because it kind of went viral, like when the picture went out. But as usual, congratulations.
Thank you.
We had a lovely... I'm ending with this picture of friends. It says biscuit and caramel. And you have the most lovely smile. Tell us how you feel about this picture.
Yes, this was the baby shower I was talking about. Yeah.
Look lovely. At all of y'all. Yeah. Amazing. Biscuit and caramel. I'm sure the cakes had a lot of biscuits.
That was the theme, yeah. The theme, the color was biscuit and caramel.
I love it. But, Pooja, it's been wonderful getting a peek at how your life has been and how it continues to be. I'd like to come to my last segment with some more fun questions. Are you ready? You keep asking people, what is the sweetest thing someone's done for you? I'd like to ask you, what is the sweetest thing that someone's done for you?
I think I was, maybe it was the end of my first internship in Switzerland. I mean, people have done many sweet things for me. This is one of my favorite memories. I was just finishing my internship, and I had a very rough first internship. This was my second one, and it was in Switzerland. It was in a kitchen or a place where nobody spoke English, so I had to work super hard, and I would just show up every day and smile and make sure like I figure things out. And at the end of it, the entire team, like at the end of 6 months, they threw me like this huge surprise party, going away party, where they got their friends, family. They booked like a small restaurant, and they gifted me like a little gold necklace, and it was a full surprise. So the minute I walked into the room and I saw all of them, I just kind of started crying, and to me that was a really sweet moment.
When was the last time you felt like a true celebrity chef?
I mean, now thanks to Masterchef, obviously, people do recognize me a lot more beyond Bombay. And I was in Ahmedabad, I was in Ahmedabad recently at the airport, and somebody comes to me and they're like, "Chef," I said, "Yes." Said, "Aapse kuch पूछना है?" I said, "Yeah, पूछिए ना." Said, "मैं नाश्ते में क्या खाऊं?" And I was just, it was 8 o'clock in Ahmedabad airport, and I was like, "नाश्ते में?" I said, "आप अंडा खाते हो?" And they're like, "हाँ." I said, "Please खाओ ना." So yeah, it's funny.
It's so I love
funny.
it.
It's funny. Yeah.
I love that. Now you must keep breakfast recipes as well handy.
I'm like, नाश्ते में, I'm like, कुछ भी खा लो.
Does that happen when someone just you're there and they're like, "What do you think about my recipe?" Like, are they literally?
Sometimes that happens, but that is at least you can figure it out.
Yeah,
ना means अब नाश्ते में मैं क्या खाऊं? मतलब I ask myself every morning, मैं नाश्ते में आज क्या खाऊं?
It's like
how can I
actually-
solve for you now?
It's like giving control of your life. It's actually that. कि क्या खाए रात नाश्ते में? I love that memory. Okay, what would you like to tell your 13-year-old self?
13-year-old self, to be more confident, to have more faith in the process, and that everything will work out, and yeah, just have fun.
Okay, what according to you is the most underrated dessert and the most overrated desserts that are in the market?
Oh, it's a tough one. I think a basic tart is very underrated.
Okay.
A nice like chocolate tart, because the base is like biscuity and crunchy, and the chocolate is soft, and I think it's like a great dessert, a great snack. So I think you don't see too many of those. So I think like that is quite underrated. Overrated, I think right now there's this trend. I mean, it's the Dubai chocolate trend that's going on with the pistachio and the kunafa, which is great by itself. I've had it and it's good. But the fact that now everybody is taking it and making too many things out of it means I've seen it in everything, and I'm also guilty of it. I also tried making a Dubai chocolate macaron, so I can't say anything. But it is overrated.
Fair enough. Okay. Today people talk a lot about fusion food. What is one food that you don't want to be at all put in that mix, and why?
I don't know actually. I don't have anything like that. I mean, I see it, and food is so subjective.
Sure.
Something that you like to eat, I won't like, and something I like, you won't like. So I never have any of those things. I've seen some like, those reels that are really gross where people are mixing everything and like
Coca-Cola with eggs and all.
yeah, and making kulfi and Maggie and like just mixing things like that. I'm like, why? Just don't do that. Just don't do that, right?
That is not fusion. That's something else.
Yeah.
If you had to today make a cake in that list that you had, if there is one Bollywood celebrity who you definitely think you want to make cake for, who would that be? Can be your favorite person, maybe somebody you like.
I want to make a cake for everybody. I want to make a cake for the whole country.
Okay. No specific name. Somebody that you probably like, admire. Women from the industry who you admire, maybe among them?
I've been very lucky to have made cakes for everyone I do admire in the industry, which has been quite great. But like I said, I just want to make cakes for everyone. I want to grow my business. I want to make it bigger. So please join me in this wish that we make cakes for everybody in the country and not just for one specific person.
If someone had to order something, just one item, what would you tell them to order?
You can't just order one item, obviously.
Sure, but if you had
to? Dark chocolate macaron to begin with, and then the red velvet cupcake, and then the hazelnut crunch cake, and the chocolate cake is very good. And then we have an old school chocolate cake, which is also very good. So yeah, you can't order one thing. Try it all.
I love that. Okay, the last one is women always get a lot of advice. Actually, everybody does. Advice that you didn't take because you were absolutely okay not taking that, and advice that you did take, a good one. What would that be and why?
I think very early on, when the business started and was doing a bit successful, someone was trying to lowball me and buy it for very like, always like, I couldn't even believe that was what they were trying to do. Like, so I'm very happy that
Like me just taken it.
yeah, and like like many like it was like some rental something had happened that time, and I remember not doing it, and I was very happy that I didn't.
Yeah.
So that and then obviously they tend to give you advice like this is the best thing that you'll ever do and you'll regret it, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay. So that and
The one that you took, some really good advice that you got in life.
There's been a lot of good advice also. That's a very tough question. What was the last thing that I did that was good? I think this thing about like the one I said about like the goal can be constant, but the path to reach the goal can keep changing. So it doesn't matter whether
different things.
Try different things. It doesn't matter whether if you have to shut one thing and you have to do something else to reach the same way. It's perfectly fine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful chatting with you. I'd like to end this conversation by asking you who have been the female influences in your life, it can be from your family, it can be who you cherish and hold, and who've added to who you are today,
Yeah, I think, so many. It starts with my mom, obviously, because she's the one who's always said, let her go out and do her thing, let her study, when I would cry to her and be like, I am getting old, I'm getting this, and she'd be like, you're doing something that's so important. And so I think my mom is always number one on the list. And then obviously I have, my bua because of who I started baking, and then all my girlfriends that are there that help and support me. I have mentors in the industry as well. So I think there's a whole bunch of women that I look up to, and I'm very grateful that I can pick up the phone and call them, and they'll give it to me and tell it to me as as real as it can be.
Thank you once again, Pooja.
Thank
you are one of our Wonder Women, and you will continue.
Thank you so much.
I hope you've enjoyed this
I
conversation.
have.
And honestly, we shall always cheer for you. So from here to probably global domination.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.